This show is called the Performing Archive Project by Suzanne, Lacy, and Leslie Labowitz. And these two artists are known for their private and public performances that explore, amongst other things, cultural representations of women. And they basically deconstructed lots of coverages of crimes against women in the media. And through this, they inserted a critique of the media into mass media itself.
So I came here and the boxes were sitting out on tables. And these are bank boxes, like account boxes, where she and her art partner have basically archived these items from the last 30 years or so of things that are directly related to the feminist movement or loosely related to the feminist movement. And when I came here, they were already interviewing some women, and I noticed that we were all different nationalities, but about the same age. So they told us to wear these little white gloves, go through the boxes, just pick 10 things that we were drawn to, and they would videotape us as we picked them and discussing the items. Each woman does bring her experiences to the table. Certainly the two women who collected the archives bring their own experiences to the table. And in a certain kind of way, they have invited us here, the women of the younger generation, to, in a sense, get a sense of what they have done, to seek some kind of validation for what they've done, to find what their legacy has been since they were so active, and still are to a certain extent in certain ways. And they want to know what value these items are to us. And so again, each woman, younger woman, bringing her own experiences, selects things from her point of view of interest. And I think that is the main thing that should be of interest to the people who come to the archive and experience this. So.
I mean, there's a lot of work in here that I didn't even know existed. I knew about feminist art through college, learning in school, learning from teachers, most female, the women teachers. But I didn't know there was so much else that the whole feminist movement was involved in. And just being a part of the show definitely opened a huge door for myself to learn more about, women culture and what they have to go through all these years and now. For us being part, as young artists, being part of this. So the show definitely was a huge impact. Learning about the curators, Suzanne and Leslie, and learning about all these 12 artists, including myself, and how much they all have something different to give.
So their activism, in a way, which was represented through their gesture of archiving and then exposing it, obviously, later on through you women. In a sense, to you, how do you see, obviously, because it comes in more layers now, how do you see activism today? Do you think it has changed tremendously, or has it not?
Actually, it did, in a way. I mean, if we going through, in parts, feminism or even women activism is a little bit not as forceful as before. The debates or the discussions are more often with issues of abortion or religion, or now women in politics. But definitely the arts has changed immensely. The arts back then, as I remember when I was told, they were more physical. Women dipping in chocolate or taking things from the vagina, or the women buildings, with the whole issues of self-preservation and sexuality. But now it's more like, I guess, like this piece itself is closed indoors. It's archived, hidden, and only showcased maybe once in a while. When they want to pick out, say, hey, don't forget us. But I think it should be exposed more. Activism actually, back in the 70s, was when, women were so forceful and they wanted to have a point across, with the burning of the bras. So I think we need burning of the bras again.
In terms of art, where do you think this show is placed? I'm saying this in relation to people that will come here not necessarily being artists or necessarily being part of the art community or art world, but actually people that come to a show that is part of the Santa Monica community that is obviously an important show to experience. And where could they place it?
I will place this show, it's more of, I would say more in a documentary, information based. It's definitely not a Cubist painting. It's definitely not a Monet. It's definitely not a Picasso. But then it does speak of us. It does speak of our interpretation of our world. And art comes in different forms, in so many different forms. Even if it's a painting, or if it's a video, if it's photography, if it's a drawing, a book, a story. It's a communication. It's a language, it's a visual language that I think everyone should be a part of. And actually, in reality, everyone is a part of. Every person that walks down the street, every woman that comes in, or every woman that walks with her child, we are talking about them. That's what the show is based on, and it's definitely history. I would say it's history.